I'm Buddy Pitt, VCSO at Logically. So I think the most powerful thing that we got to in the beginning with SaaS alerts is the respond rules. And what we were able to do is hone in on the pieces of information that held a lot of value, or threat indicators, as we would call them, indicators of compromise. So these were things like locations that logins were occurring from, or actions that threat actors would take. These are items like creating inbox rules or logging in from outside approved areas. Those are some indicators. Then what we were able to do with the respond rules is stack them. So if you get one indicator, it may not be the whole story, but as two indicators show up or three indicators show up, now you get to that point where you can flip and say, okay, this is definitely something going on here that could be damaging or risky for the environment. And it allows us to respond, lock the accounts out, block sign-ins, and kick the threat actors out of that account so that we can take it back over and reduce risk. So now we have a mechanism to collect the logs, to evaluate the logs, and what that's allowed us to do is notice these patterns. So now we can build our operations around what we're actually responding to, and then have a more formulated and consistent response to them that's more proceduralized. So now we know when something comes in, here's the 5 things that we have to do. We can execute those very efficiently, get out to the user, get their access restored to their account, and then we're on with our day. So each incident is taking less and less time. And that reduction in time reduces the impact of the incident, because a lot of business email compromise in particular take days or weeks to play out. So, especially like payment redirections or funds redirection. So when we step in front of that within the first 30 minutes or 60 minutes of something going on or from detection, we're mitigating that risk dramatically. Oh, it's absolutely the respond rules. And, the reason that's my favorite feature is that it's a platform, so it allows us to adapt as we see new behaviors out of threat actors, because as we get good at defense, they're going to change their playbook too. So we have to be able to adapt very dynamically on the defensive side as we see new things. So what SaaS alerts allows us to do is review those logs, identify those indicators of compromise, and constantly move up in the attack chain. And I'll give another example, if I may. We identified an account that had multi-factor authentication enabled, which normally you would say that's safe because the username and password doesn't work, but threat actor got in anyway. And what we were able to do is analyze the logs and figure out that the threat actor was just wearing down the user, the MFA fatigue sequence. So they had been trying for 6 weeks. So we were able to make respond rules now that said, if there's multi-factor authentication failures more than X amount of times in X time period, we now generate an alert and take that first factor of authentication back away. So we can go out and change that password, knowing that it may be compromised, so that the threat actor doesn't have a duration of time to go after the second factor piece. It certainly closes or brings visibility into one of the biggest, for us it was Office 365, one of the biggest cloud platforms that a lot of our customers are using. I think for a duration of time, there was a misunderstanding that once data was in the cloud, the security of that data was also delegated to that cloud provider. So I think what I would say to an MSP that's not using this is that you still have a responsibility to protect that data. Just because it's hosted in a cloud, treat it as if it's hosted on a server in the local office and secure that data the same way.